Welcome back inside the Greensboro Coliseum, tournament town, ready now for semifinal number 2 here on Semifinal Saturday. It will be the number 2 seed Duke taking on Virginia Tech in this game. Both teams already out on the floor warming up. The Hokies and Blue Devils both with 20-plus wins on the season. You may remember the last time they played, it was a couple of weeks ago, Castle Coliseum, and Virginia Tech beat Duke on that day. But Corey, if I'm Virginia Tech, I'm worried a little bit about depth today.
Well, Virginia Tech only played 6 players in last night's game, a highly emotional game. So you really have to wonder what they have left in the tank. And it's going to be important for them to get off to a great start and make Duke chase them for the 40 minutes.
It's not going to be easy, but they have that confidence of having beaten the Blue Devils in recent days. Who will be one when we get to Championship Sunday? Kyle Singler with his 29 points hopes that his team be. On the other side, well, there was almost heartbreak, but after the review of this play, Virginia Tech found out that it got too late off of his fingertips. They're in the semifinals today, but do they have enough left in the tank? We'll update our brackets now, our Toyota brackets. North Carolina has made it to the championship game with a win in overtime over Clemson. Now it is Duke and Virginia Tech. The Hokies, as I said, believe today. So do the Duke Blue Devils. We'll check in with our game announcers, Tim Brando and Mike Cheminsky, on the other side for semifinal number 2 here in Greensboro.
The final piece of the ACC Tournament puzzle for the championship. It's semifinal Saturday here in Tournament Town, Greensboro, North Carolina. And the big story coming into Game 2 this afternoon, Nolan Smith. How will that second toe on his left foot respond after what happened between he and Cliff Tucker last night? Certainly the Blue Devils were up and capable of handling it after it happened. But after overnight, how limber will he be? Mike Cheminsky knows the impact of one Nolan Smith and what it's like to fight through injury.
Well, when you're the ACC Player of the Year, it's a significant injury. But I talked to Nolan while he was warming up, and he gave me the thumbs up. He's going to be ready to go, which is good news for Duke because he does so much for that team. And it'll just be interesting to see if he's affected at all. You know, warm-up is one thing, game speed is another thing.
Remember, he did the job on Malcolm Delaney when the two teams last met. Though Delaney hit a big 3, he really snuffed him out in that game. They're going to need his defense against Malcolm Delaney. No question about that going into this matchup. Now, as for those other players, and certainly Seth Curry and Andre Dawkins had their moments last night, they're the X factors, as is Eric Green.
Well, the thing that was impressive about that, Tim, is that he was 1 for 12 before stepping up and making that shot. So he's got a lot of confidence in Ryan Kelly. He's had a couple of games where he's been perfect from the field against Wake Forest, and he really came up big and gave that front line a boost. And the Plumlee brothers played well as well.
The percussion section is ready, and so are we. The lineups and the opening tip are coming up. Duke and Virginia Tech, Game 2 of semifinal Saturday.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by BB&T, by GMC, by Food Lion, by Geico, by Pepsi, by Hyundai, and by AT&T.
The March Holiday Festival, better known as Fan Fest, has been a lot of fun these last 72 hours in Greensboro, North Carolina. Let's take a look at our Food Lion starting lineups. Green, Delaney, Bell, Allen, and Davila. And they better have their mojo working because there aren't many options on that Virginia Tech bench coming into this afternoon's game. For the Blue Devils, Smith, Curry, Miles Plumlee, along with Mason Plumlee and Kyle Singler, the starting 5. So Ryan Kelly, despite going 5 for 5 from the floor, will be coming off the bench for Mike Krzyzewski. Let's take a look, G-Man, at our 4 keys to this game.
Well, for Virginia Tech, they've got to defend the 3, and it's something they did very well up in Blacksburg. Duke shot 4 of 20 in that game, in that win. And for Duke, you know that Virginia Tech, by necessity, is going to play zone. They want to attack it and play inside out.
Our ACC network is presented in high definition. We're available by Raycom Sports, and the opening tip is controlled to Duke. Miles Plumlee with a jump hook, and he gets the shooter's touch, and it's 2-0 Blue Devils.
Already got the sense that there are going to be drives by Singler, and then a lot of touches by Mason and Miles Plumlee down low. Want to really make Jeff Allen work and guard, try to get him into foul trouble, both him and Davila.
Well, you know Mike Krzyzewski wants to see the Plumlee brothers playing well going into the NCAA tournament, just as was the case last year with Zubek. And Malcolm Delaney comes back for Virginia Tech to can their first bucket, and we're tied.
2 things with Delaney. They don't want to let him shoot threes, and they don't want to put him on the free throw line.
Smith going crossover, gets the bump, and we'll get to the free throw line. Well, it was a good burst there, no question about that. Early returns on that second toe, and Mike Krzyzewski joked afterwards, I'm not sure what the second toe does. Well, it's whatever it is doing, it did it properly there. Eric Green got the foul his first.
Is that counting from inside out or outside in? I mean,
every time Mike is in one of those positions trying to explain it, he always falls back on his Polish background. Do you do the same thing?
I find it a wonderful crutch.
Curry with a runner. And it's 4-2 Duke. I got this job solely because I can pronounce both of your names.
Throw in our sideline guy here, too.
That's right. Davila underneath got Miles Plumlee airborne.
And number 30, Seth Curry, his first team foul, number 1.
Seth Curry actually got the foul rather than Plumlee. His first foul. It was a wonderful interview Scott Kozlowski had with Harrison Barnes. That was an amazing performance, wasn't it, Mike? 40 points. Scored his jersey number in that first game with Clemson.
Got the all-time record for freshmen in an ACC tournament, and you think about the freshmen who have played in this event. Pretty heady company.
No doubt. Terrell Bell gets into the scoring column for Virginia Tech.
They mentioned the fact that I remember there was a freshman named Phil Ford who came in and was the MVP of this tournament. We might be seeing a redo of that.
Plumlee doesn't connect on that one. Last touch by the Hokies. Duke will control it underneath. A very emotional Seth Greenberg in the aftermath of last night's game. I thought your line about his waiting along the sidelines for word to come in and looking like the victorious American Idol winner was right on target, no doubt about it. There's Singler driving to the bucket. Loose ball. Mason Plumlee picks up the garbage and uses the glass.
Well, somehow that Virginia Tech has to compete on the glass and limit Duke's second chance opportunity. That's going to be critical if they're going to stay in this game. They actually out-rebounded them in the game in Blacksburg.
Jeff Allen. Well, he played very well in the second half last night. Really turned his game around at 180 degrees and got his head straight too, and they needed it in the second half of that game last night. He was in foul difficulty the entire game, as was Victor Davila. That's an offensive foul by Plumlee. He hooked him with the left elbow.
There's the play, and this is you put pressure on. Singler's done a much better job recently driving to the basket, and Mason Plumlee, Miles kept it alive. Mason Plumlee finishes it off. But an unnecessary foul by Mason Plumlee on that play at the hook inside.
Green working on Curry. Delaney trying to shake Nolan Smith. I think this is one of the reasons why Nolan really needs to be out there, because he can check Delaney in a manner, Mike, that no other Duke Blue Devil can in the backcourt as Miles Plumlee gets the foul.
And you know, there are guys, Tim, who play and will play 40 minutes, but maybe take some time off on their own plays or take some time off defensively. He doesn't take a second off. I mean, he draws the other team's best scorer. He's had to do so much, and that's why rightfully I thought he was named player of the year this year.
I see the numbers on him the last 3 regular season games, and it really started his woes at the end of the regular season with the game against Duke. Now, he did make that big 3 that helped give Virginia Tech the win at Castle, but he really stumbled down the stretch of the regular season. And I thought Nolan Smith had a lot to do with it that night.
Well, it's tiring to score, Tim. People don't understand that. When you're averaging 20 points a game, that's not an easy thing to do, and they rely on him so heavily for his offense and his passing.
Smith over Bell. Plumlee tries to run it down, but saves it to Allen. Allen's pass snared by Smith. Mason Plumlee drops it to his brother for the slam.
That was really well. And the thing about Nolan Smith, he immediately converted to defense. He was like a cornerback reading that long pass, got the interception, and turned it into points.
Right, Jeff Allen made a poor length of the floor pass and was down there by himself. You see Green, little teardrop does not fall, and the foul goes against Davila.
And here's the look, and that's an ill-advised pass. But look at him just cutting in, being very opportunistic, and that's just having your eyes turn. Younger brother gives it up to older brother. And up on that last play with Davila, that's the type of foul they can't afford from their bigs. Just a silly foul that you're never going to get the basketball from, and it's a giveaway.
I was also about to compliment Allen for not committing the foul when the Plumlee's got that dunk. He'd already made a bad pass. A lot of times a frustrated player will make the mistake of committing a foul, and Allen chose to just let that one go, which was a pretty good idea. Not quite 4 minutes gone by here in Greensboro. We're tied at 8. Tim Brando, Mike Jaminski, and Scott Przwanski. Smith on the dribble drive. Allen clears it for Virginia Tech. Green will surprise you from time to time in transition. He's got a pretty good burst.
He's been a huge key to this whole season for them, Tim. Ever since Lorenzo Hudson went down, he has stepped up.
Davila walked. Timeout. Good start, though, for the Hokies trying to turn around off of last night's emotion against Duke. All right, fans, the cell phones I know are ready. It's time for the AT&T fan vote. We want you to answer this question. Who will impact today's game the most, Delaney or Singler? Text your answer A1 or A2 to 55333 or go to theacc.com and vote. You'll get the results in the second half. By the way, if you go to theacc.com, you'll find the G-Tube, and I know he's been on the road with it the last couple of weeks doing a heck of a job. The G-Man.
Some good tournament shots here so far. Behind-the-scenes stuff. That'll be updated next week.
Noticed a few people in our business are trying to steal your thunder. Remember, it's all about who actually starts it, Mike. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery, my friend.
Often imitated, never duplicated.
Absolutely. Davila with a jump hook. Well done. 10-8, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, good solid offense that time. Caught it in rhythm. Seeing more and more players go to that jump hook. Team Tyler Zeller shooting it. Mason Plumlee has brought that into his game. Davila.
Second turnover by the Devils.
And that's just too easy. If you're Plumlee, if you're Mason Plumlee, you got to fight over that. You can't let him catch with 2 feet and a pass straight down through from the top of the key.
Ryan Kelly has come onto the floor, as has Andre Dawkins, as you look at our GMC scoreboard.
Clemson really solidified their NCAA tournament bid with that game against North Carolina, even a loss. It was a well-fought game.
Hey, Harvard and Princeton are underway for a ticket to be punched into the NCAAs. For Tommy Amaker, it would be the first trip for Harvard since 1946.
Are they all writing in blue books, or are they actually playing basketball? Is it an oral examination, or?
Another turnover committed by Virginia Tech. Don't forget, tomorrow it's the ACC Tournament Finals. Coverage beginning at 12:30. Here on most of these ACC network stations. Tim Brandt and my partner Mike Jaminski will have it for you. Dawkins off the curl. Not there. Out of bounds, controlled to Duke.
On the floor for Virginia Tech, number 25,
Manny Atkins checking into the game for the first time for Virginia Tech. And he has been incredible the last couple of weeks. Nice scoop to the hoop by Nolan Smith.
Putting to rest all the fears about his injury, at least at this point in the game. But Tim, with Manny Atkins, that's as deep as Seth Greenberg went last night on the bench.
Davila, beautiful move, unable to finish. Went crying off the front rim. Plumlee puts it on the deck. That's an offensive foul. Player control. It'll go against Mason.
Nice job that time by Manny Atkins stepping up, and one dribble too many. When you're a big, and Mason Plumlee coming out of the game, when you're a big and you put in multiple dribbles into the paint area, you're gonna bring that at risk.
So his brother Miles checks in for him after he picks up his second foul. Delaney being dogged by Smith. Allen gets it back on the pick and pop. Singler clears it for Duke.
5 of 30 on the year coming in from 3.
Kelly. Oh, he missed it from point blank range. I think he was surprised he got the pass, but he shouldn't have been. Green misses. Allen runs it down. Nice hustle. I don't think he mean to throw that off his head. I really don't. And he was just trying to let it go. Mike Krzyzewski's not at all pleased. Dawkins took it in the chops there.
And there's the play. Normally you throw it off the player's lower extremity. And you can understand why the coaching staff is upset. There's no need. He was out of bounds. You can just bounce it off his leg, and it's an easy call.
Well, I said that I don't think he meant it. But you know what? Upon further review, one could certainly disagree with me.
But I don't know that there was any recourse for the referee since it wasn't a punch.
No, exactly. And I don't blame Mike Krzyzewski for getting up and defending his player at all.
Yeah, that's the code of honor amongst players.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, you know, it's easy to just bounce it off his leg and you accomplish the same thing.
Exactly. And why would you want to anger Duke? Really? Why would you want to do that? Smith takes it to the rack and he's fouled.
A foul has been charged to Virginia Tech.
Delaney gets the foul.
He really possesses the whole package, Tim. He can go either hand to the rim, he can shoot the mid-range jump shot, and he can knock down the 3.
I was working with Corey Alexander last night, Mike, and we were talking because Allen really had an indifferent first half. It was one of those sort of games where it appeared that the attitude wasn't right, body language wasn't good. And then he turned it around in the second half. I thought really played remarkably. I complimented him after the game. But Corey said to me, and it's true, players know that reputations are built over time. And that little moment over there, while I really don't believe he meant at the time to do that, it's those kinds of actions that earn you the reputation.
Well, of course, he's going to stick up. He's an Oak Hill guy.
That's
so,
right.
I mean, he's not going to bury him.
That's right. Yeah, by the way, it doesn't take long when you're talking to Corey to know he's an Oak Hill guy. Delaney, a beautiful rainbow for Malcolm. He's got 6, and we're tied at 12.
5 of 16. Not seeing a big basket, but that was a very tough shot. Nolan Smith playing sound defense. Just got beat by a better jumper.
Kelly, not there. Gets another try and puts it down.
Stay with it, and whoever Jeff Allen is, they're really trying to attack him off the dribble, pick up those fouls. And Kelly double teaming, staying with Delaney, a couple of extra counts.
Avila's right there. He knows how to pass out of the post very well. Atkins, he's going to be fouled by Dawkins. Andre's trying to lobby for a hook. He's not going to get it. Timeout. Both teams have been able to put up a dozen here in Greensboro. Further proof they did play at Duke before Coach K got there. Mike Jaminski and company in 1980 beat Maryland, a controversial finish. Duke missed only 4 shots in the half. G-Man had a tip in for the game winner. Kenny Denard and Buck Williams battled in the paint after Albert King's last-second shot missed. Terps were the 1 seed. Blue Devils were the 6th. Albert King was the MVP, but boy, oh boy, what a game.
Well, and the whole controversy of whether Buck Williams was undercut or Kenny Denard boxed out is still raging up in College Park. But I tell people, if Albert King had knocked the shot down, there'd be no controversy.
Absolutely. And Denard would come back and say, "That's right, dog."
Well, and he actually kept the ball alive for me to get that tip in. It was a missed shot on his side. He kept it alive over to me, and there was nobody on my side of the basket.
The human floor burn, Kenny Denard. Takes this home in Houston. We'll be seeing him Final Four week. I'm looking forward to it. Still does a lot of work for the people in cancer research, trying to raise funds in the fight against cancer.
Yeah, very, very involved with Coaches versus Cancer. He's a 25-year-plus survivor of testicular cancer.
Green with that bucket tied the game at 14. Miles Plumlee retrieves it. It's a recycle for Duke. Dawkins over Delaney. Kelly. Well, Dawkins did a nice job of holding on to that, and he's fouled by Allen. ACC fans, right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, you can get 5 quarts of Haviland with Deposit Shield and a filter for just $12.99 through March the 29th. Defend your engine with Haviland with Deposit Shield.
Well, so far in this game, Duke not seeing a big basket, but they have 8 offensive rebounds. And this is a guy, Tim, they need to get going. Andre Dawkins, he's a player that if he doesn't have early success, tends to continue in that mode. It's tough for him to recover. He's missed his first couple shots. See if he can get some rhythm at the free throw line.
Had a couple of big buckets in the game last night against Maryland. Got him started. You know, this time of year, and you know this, G-Man, Mike Krzyzewski needs to see production. Otherwise, your minutes will fade. They will fade in a hurry.
And then it was by necessity with Nolan Smith going out with that injury with 7 minutes to go that he stepped up, and he's had good games. He had his first start in his career. He had 28 against Bradley. Again, there are those players who can miss their first few shots and get right back into it. There are others who will stop shooting or lose confidence.
Green again. Miles Plumlee the rebound. Smith feeding Plumlee. Avila got a lot of leather there. Smith with a reversal. Nice drive to the bucket by Nolan Smith. Bell answers for Virginia Tech. Tell you one thing about Seth Greenberg's teams, they do embody his combative approach and style. He may only have 6. Boy, that was a beautiful move by Smith. He just blew right by Green.
Well, he was anticipating the screen going the other way, and Nolan Smith just shunned the screen, went to his left hand. It was wide open. There was no help defensively.
That's one of the things you have to really admire, though, Mike, about Virginia Tech. It's hard to be as combative as you'd like when you cannot get into foul trouble. Delaney not there. Bell picks up that foul over the back of Kyle Singler.
Well, this is a terrific acrobatic play on an offensive rebound inside. But Tim, you know what? They've had a lot of injury, no question about it. But their 2 best players have played all year.
That's right.
And Jeff Allen and Malcolm Delaney. So they've always had those guys to lean on.
One great outside, another inside. Smith is feeling it.
First 3 of the game for Duke, and that was a big point of emphasis for Virginia Tech in defending the 3. Again, he used that crossover to go back left, but decided to pull up.
Largest lead of the afternoon for the Blue Devils of 7. Want to maintain contact with this group. Allen, tough shot. Davila trying to keep it alive. Out of bounds, last touch by Duke. Fans respond to the effort of Nolan Smith.
And see, that's, you know, when things fall into place, when your ACC player of the year dives out of bounds to make play. Everybody else on the team says, all right, the tone has been set. This is how we play.
Davila goes right up, baseline extended. Fouled by Plumlee, would have counted had it gone.
Foul has been charged to Duke by number 21, Miles.
Second foul on Miles.
Team foul number 6.
6th team foul against the Blue Devils. Davila at the line for 2. Closed captioning for this afternoon's telecast provided by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time. By way of Puerto Rico, Victor Davila. That is prep time in Stonewall, North Carolina.
Double-double in the first game against Duke when they beat them at home. 11 points, 10 rebounds.
Blue Devils in the midst of a run. Virginia Tech has difficulty playing from behind, largely because they have no bench. North Carolina already has a shot at this year's trophy. You know of the history. These teams are trying to make some here in Greensboro. Nolan Smith has been heard from early. I'd say the toe is doing just fine.
Yeah, there was some question as to whether he would start or play in this game, but he has responded admirably. He is really the only one seeing a big basket for Duke. 4 of 6. The rest of the team 5 of 15 from the floor.
He's got the last 7 points for the Devils. As you look at our game summary, the points in the paint, I think the second chance points, Mike, are huge for Duke because they get those recycles that they can afford to miss threes if they can get that many offensive rebounds.
That was the key thing for Virginia Tech, the coaching staff, talking about competing on the glass, and we talked about it. They did in the win at home, and that was the template built for last year in that national championship, and getting recycles and kickouts for threes.
Smith pumps. Make it the last 10.
And that's going to be critical, too. We talked about the zone, and Virginia Tech will primarily play that. The way to break them out of that is to knock down threes, and Nolan Smith answering the call.
Miscommunication there between Allen and Green, and the turnover. Scott Przwanski's got more on the fatigue factor for Seth Greenberg's club.
Well, guys, you have to remember this club didn't get out of here till midnight last night. They didn't get back to their hotel room until 1 a.m. last night. They have to have time to wind down. So kids probably didn't go to bed till 2 a.m. They had a meeting at 11 a.m. this morning. So fatigue. Interesting to see when and if it will play a factor for Virginia Tech. Remember, they only played 6 guys all of yesterday's ball game, and it was a very emotional ball game as well.
Well, Scott, one comment. I don't know a lot of college kids that go to bed before 2 anyway. But that being said, in this sort of situation, that hours are critical of rest. And when you're playing 3 games in 3 days, I mean, it comes down to hours and minutes and fluid replacement and all that. And that's why the higher seeds get more rest.
Eric Green gets his 4th point of the afternoon, ending this drought for Virginia Tech. And it's 26-18. Conventional wisdom is that Virginia Tech is now in the NCAA tournament field. I certainly agree with that. But to go back to the point for Seth Greenberg's squad, what they may be really playing for today is the ability to get off of the line of the first 4, which would be played on Tuesday and Wednesday in Dayton, Ohio. And presumably, you'd be playing for the 11th or 12th seed on a Friday-Sunday matchup in the NCAAs next week. So if they could win here and get off of that line as the last 4 in, Mike, that could be very important in terms of getting some rest going into the NCAAs next week.
I see your point, but the emotion that came out of Seth, I don't think he really cares. I mean, he's just getting in.
You're right.
And but that's a point well taken to not have to play that extra game and then go into the weekend. It's like the difference between getting a bye in this tournament or having to play on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, this is a new era, the dawning of a new era of the tournament. I'm hearing some fans say, well, I want to stay out of that play-in thing. It's not a play-in. The NCAA tournament now begins on Tuesday night.
It's the first, and it's referred as the first round.
That's right. You got two teams that are going to be getting in on the 11 or 12 line on Thursday and Friday, and you're talking about teams that potentially could win those games once they get in on Thursday or Friday. Kelly leads the game. Seth Curry now on the floor along with Dawkins, Mason Plumlee, Singler, and Smith.
Al Singler's been quiet in this game so far. Not a lot of touches or opportunities for him against this zone.
Smith. Allen runs down the rebound. Delaney in the open floor. He flourishes there, stays with it. Could not get the tip in. Poor pass though, and Green, he can't knock it down.
Actually, that pass was deflected. It was the outlook was up the floor.
Curry. And the long rebound to Delaney. Davila working it on Singler. Rejected by Mason Plumlee. Dawkins on the wing.
Big shot for him, and you know, Nolan Smith knew that all too well. Great swing of the basketball against the zone, and they get a go look at Duke has been getting some pretty good three-point looks, Tim, against this zone.
You're right, other than Smith, that bucket by Dawkins, not many Devils have been hitting from the perimeter. Dawkins a little too active that time away from the basket. Gets the foul against Atkins, his second.
This is what Mason Plumlee has done this year, top 10 in blocks, and it triggers it up, and just there's no rotation coming over. Andre Dawkins playing horse out in the corner.
Going back to your point, Mike, you were sitting, I know, back in your hotel room while we were working when Seth Greenberg got the word after that long wait by the officials. And again, I thought that they did a wonderful job in handling a very precarious and controversial, potentially controversial situation. He expended that emotion, I think, on the basis of 4 years of frustration. I think it just oozed out of him at that point.
Well, he ceased to be a spokesman for Bubblicious Gum, and now Kleenex has moved into the...
Well, no one's been left at the doorstep by the committee any more than he has in the last 4 years. As you look at our TMC scoreboard, Vanderbilt's got the early advantage on a Florida team that's been playing really well for Billy Donovan the last half of the season.
How about Michigan State, a big win against Purdue yesterday?
Smith has 16 for Duke, and their lead is 11.
Leads the conference this year in 30-point games with 4, including a 30-point effort, a losing effort over in Chapel Hill in the last regular season game.
Atkins in traffic, gets past Curry. I love his energy, Mike.
Yep, and a perfect opportunity for him to come in. You talk about the sixth man, and that's all it's been.
They will on occasion go to Tyrone Garland, although last night they did not. Delaney the rebound.
You wonder at some point during, I would have thought that if it would happen, it would have happened in this first half.
Davila runs down the loose ball, feeds Delaney. Curry the rebound. Those are going to have to fall for Malcolm if Virginia Tech is to maintain contact today.
Especially in light of the fact that it was a scattered play, and that was he's not going to get many open looks like that against this defense.
Singler off the ball screen. Count it. That's a two-pointer just inside the arc for Kyle. His first bucket of the afternoon.
I think he went a long way last night to put to rest a lot of the questions about where his jump shot went. 9 of 15 in that game. Excuse me, 10 of 15.
Delaney on a a blow by, and there's a block inside.
And by the way, I heard you had fun at my expense when he lapped me in the scoring list.
Yeah, we sort of did. You might be passed again today. Before this day is over, once again, you could be passed. Hey, be sure to check out ontheline.com. See why 1 in 6 is a statistic you should know about, and see what Aaron Andrews has in common with Digger Phelps and Billy Packer. It's all ontheline.com. You got to read it. You got to see it. Skies are blue in Greensboro, North Carolina today. And the Tar Heels have already won their way into the ACC Tournament final, the 58th renewal here in Greensboro tomorrow afternoon. Duke trying to join them. Virginia Tech still very much in the way, however.
And the thing is, and you look at the career numbers of Malcolm Delaney, pretty impressive in their own right. But in an instance like this, in the third game in 3 days, it's not going to show up in the first 20 minutes. Fatigue is going to show up in the last 10 minutes of this game. And that's when the legs get weary, shots go flat, you don't defend as well. And that's where it becomes a war of attrition.
Nolan Smith has had an amazing first half, leading the Devils with 16 points. Miles Plumlee has it on the deck. It's lost. Alternating possession to Virginia Tech. Let's take a look at our principal financial edge of the game.
Tim, and talking to both coaching staffs, they were very wary of transition points, and both teams doing a good job getting back that way. And the reason why is you don't want to give up easy points in this game or in this situation. So it has been pretty much a half-court game for both teams at this point.
See that score in overtime, North Carolina winning. I'm curious, Mike. We saw it with Miami, and I thought it happened again today with Clemson, although they played very well, and I thought better than Miami did in the second half. Teams trying to nurse leads against North Carolina, milking the clock when they're up by a couple of possessions. Boy, you're just playing right into North Carolina's hands when you do that.
Well, I would submit this to any team, Tim. I've always been a big proponent of extending a lead. If you're up by 4, try to get up by 8. If you're up by 8, try to get up by 15.
Right.
You know, and you've gotten that lead by being aggressive, so why not keep that same tone? But I completely agree with you. You know, unless there's some extenuating circumstances like you're in awful foul trouble, or you know, or one of your star players is hurt. But normally, just go for the jugular.
I mean, if you have that theory the rest of the way, we've got a foul inside. We'll go against Ryan Kelly. If you keep that in mind, DeMontez Stitt might have been the guy that wound up with 40, as opposed to Harrison Barnes. Brad Brownell knows his team, and I'm not being critical. I'm simply saying that we've seen it on a couple of occasions, underdog teams playing very well, getting big leads. In this case, it was a 14-point lead today. It was a 19-point lead yesterday. Coming up at halftime, we'll have analysis, highlights, stats, and more on the Hardee's halftime report.
That being said, for North Carolina, you've got to correct that situation. There's 2 games in a row they've come out and they've turned the ball over and they've fallen behind, and that's a dangerous game to play, not only in the championship game tomorrow, but also going into next week.
Yeah, they played the first 10 minutes of the last 2 games similar to the way they played at this time last year, not this time this year.
You can see Virginia Tech really defending the 3-point line. They're getting out, switching everything.
Singler working it on Allen, counted on a foul. That'll be 2 on Jeff Allen.
Seth Greenberg saying it's a walk, and so that, you know, Duke is accepting that part. And Kyle Singler putting a lot of pressure on Jeff Allen to defend out on the perimeter, and didn't look like a travel there. He controlled the basketball well and finished well.
The jump stop.
Now, you know, if you're Seth Greenberg, do you take Jeff Allen out? I know you don't have many options at this point, but he's got to play smart in the last minute 46 and not get the third.
I don't know that he can afford losing his offense for the remaining 140. Allen has played with the foul difficulty. Both he and Davila, I've got to give them credit.
They had 4 late in that game last night.
Sure
and stayed
did.
in it. And
they did very much the same thing during the regular season. Did it against Duke in the regular season at Castle Coliseum. Delaney. That's a block. Ryan Kelly again, his second.
Malcolm Delaney only 2 of 6 in the field, but he has made his living today at the free throw line, 6 of 6. And just the kind of a half-hearted attempt that Kelly never really got fully engaged in front of Malcolm Delaney on that drive. Tried to draw it with his left shoulder instead of with his chest.
Malcolm has 11 points and has done his part to keep Virginia Tech in this thing here in the opening half.
You can see, and that's now 12 points and 8 of them at the free throw line.
Singler pulls up over Green using the glass. Atkins the rebound. Real chance for Virginia Tech to get a little momentum going into the break. Delaney off the front iron. Look at Allen hustle to get the rebound. Stays with it. He's fouled again. Oh, that's it. Gotta go the other way. Duke will have it.
Timeout, Duke. A 30-second timeout.
30-second timeout by the Blue Devils. We touched on the first game, and you witnessed it along with Tim Brand. It was a sluggish start, but Barnes was there throughout.
Well, and he knocked down the 3 there, but also Kendall Marshall with a big 3, and he had not a great day handling the basketball. As many turnovers as I've seen him play, but really it was the front line wore down Clemson up front, and Barnes hits some 3, but Tyler Zeller again hits the shot that ties it up, that sends it into overtime. So he's had a terrific tournament as well. But 40 points for Harrison Barnes.
14 of them in the overtime.
I don't know. I really don't know in this conference who matches up well with him defensively. He's such a unique and explosive player.
I know he's the freshman of the year, Mike, and I realize that you get a vote. But I have to tell you, he should send a chunk of that trophy to Kendall Marshall,
who I picked, and that's why I voted for, and I thought that the fortunes of that program turned around when he was inserted in the starting lineup, and I think Harrison Barnes got all the better because of it.
It was almost as if he won it on the basis of preseason hype over Marshall. If you're looking at the most valuable player to a team this season in the ACC, it's got to be Kendall Marshall of North Carolina. It was addition by subtraction. See the shot clock differential between the game clock. Needless to say, Virginia Tech's not going to come out and challenge and initiate any defense.
People ask me how it looked when we had that 7-0 game in North Carolina. That's about it for the last 20 seconds. That's what the whole half looked like.
Curry for 3. Well, the largest lead of the game thus far had been 11. Duke has just equaled it as we head to the intermission. This is a big possession for Virginia Tech. Have something good happen. Allen gives it. It's a nice move, but Davila got it a little late. I think Jeff did not want to drive and pick up a 3rd foul before halftime. Jeff Greenberg's going to talk to Danny Atkins a bit about what's going on the defensive end. And we've reached the intermission.
There's the look. We talk about all the 3-point shooters that Duke has.
Scott Brzezwanski is standing by with Seth Greenberg.
Coach, what's your message to your guys as you're heading?
We got to get a 50-50 ball. We haven't gotten one 50-50 ball down that end of the court. We can get a 50-50. We can't guard 70 seconds. We can guard 25. We've got to get a loose ball. We get a loose ball, we'll be fine.
Malcolm Delaney's got 12 points. Can you get Jeff Allen involved here in the second half as well?
Yeah, they're doing a good job of denying our initial answer. We've got to be able to get the ball side to side a little bit better.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, that's Seth Greenberg, Virginia Tech, trailing Duke 39-28 here at the half in Greensboro.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Haviland, by Chevrolet, by Geico, and by Nissan.
12 stones, we are one. Kyle Singler has not had the game that he did yesterday, only 5 points in the first half. But I think this whole team has been energized by Nolan Smith. I mean, that has just made all the difference in the world in this Duke team and its attitude.
And ACC Player of the Year, Nolan Smith, has come out with a sense of purpose in this game against Virginia Tech. You see him getting to the basket early with the acrobatic move, but he had to stop there. He's been in attack mode the entire game, and his buddy Kyle Singler has chipped in to have to be his Batman to Robin. These two guys have done a great job, but for Malcolm Delaney and Virginia Tech, they're not going to make any excuses. Fatigue won't be a factor. He and Eric Green are willing to play this one out to the end.
And they have played well in the first half, but they just haven't shot the ball well enough. As you look at the stats, look at three-point shooting. Virginia Tech 0 for 5. Duke has made 4 threes.
And that's going to be huge for Duke as they continue along. But when they're so much better shooting team, when they have Nolan Smith attacking the middle, kicking it out to his teammates.
All right, we've got one more half to go to decide who will play North Carolina for the championship tomorrow. Timmy B, the G-Man, have the call on the other side of the break.
ACC Basketball is brought to you by Hardee's, by your Carolina Ford dealers, by Gatorade, and by your local Toyota dealers.
Statue of Nathaniel Green, the man for whom the city of Greensboro is named. 39-28, Duke with the lead. Tim Brando, Mike Jaminski. What do you think Seth Greenberg is going to try to do to enhance the opportunity for some of these 3-ball opportunities to fall? They're 0 for 5.
Well, and it's a tough part, and they've got to get Malcolm Delaney going. And the issue is, I know he's talking about the 50-50 balls. It's really offensive rebounding that he's talking about. The other end, 10-second chances for Duke, 15 points as a result of that. You combine that with their 4 threes, they're putting a lot of pressure on Virginia Tech's defense.
Our Scott Brzezwanski talked to Chris Collins a few moments ago, Mike Krzyzewski's assistant.
Yeah, and Chris Collins was saying he really wanted his club to come out with a lot of intensity because they want to prevent against a big burst from Virginia Tech to try to get back in this ball game. And defensively, they want their guards. They challenge the Duke guards to be more disciplined in guarding Malcolm Delaney. Delaney's getting to the free throw line far too often in the first half. They've got to not go for all those ball fakes and shoulder fakes Delaney has on the court.
And Scott, they talked about before the game about keeping Delaney off the 3-point line and the free throw line. They've been successful on the 3-point line, but not so much. He's just so crafty at getting fouled in that situation. I think, Tim, I think the first 4 minutes are going to set the tone and show us a lot in this game. That Duke will amp up the pressure, try to wear down, and really get into the legs of Virginia Tech.
He touched on how important last night was for Virginia Tech and what they may, in fact, if you're just going to isolate it to today's game, what they may be playing for. For the Blue Devils, we're talking about a #1 seed. And while that may not be as big a deal as it used to be, statistically it is. As Nolan Smith is fouled by Eric Green as he drives to the basket, second foul on Green.
I'll guarantee you that Mike Krzyzewski and that coaching staff are not thinking about that right now. I mean, they're enmeshed in this tournament. He's about winning championships, and every year they come here with the mindset of winning this tournament.
On the other end of that opportunity, provided they get past Virginia Tech, would be North Carolina. It would be a rubber match, and it would be for a #1 seed. More than likely for Duke, less likely perhaps for North Carolina.
And building probably be half full and won't be any intensity. People have other things to do on a Sunday, right?
Play some golf. Drive down to Pinehurst. It's a beautiful day in North Carolina.
Plenty of tickets still available.
Yeah. Get that Michael Murphy, Carolina in the Pine song on your DVD. Allen working in on Mason Plumlee, unable to convert. Seth Curry comes down with it.
Not a lot of room to finish in there.
See the leading scorers, and Delaney needs more help. Bottom line. And for the Blue Devils, Smith, and he is getting a little help from his friend.
Well, Tim, you talked about it, how Jeff Allen came back in the second half yesterday. He's going to have to do the same thing tonight, and he tried to in an aggressive move that didn't go down, but he is now 1 of 6 in this game, and they can't suffer a scoring drought from him.
Mason Plumlee's got a little blood, I think, coming from his chops. We'll have to take him out briefly. Get Ryan Kelly into the game for him.
Ryan Kelly on the floor for Duke.
It may have happened in that contact when Allen was taking it to the goal a few moments ago and only began to show up for the officials to notice on this end of the floor. Another play later. Green. He likes that wing jumper, and that is the first three-pointer, and it comes after penetration from Malcolm Delaney.
Yeah, and that's the other likely guy. He's averaged double figures on the year. Eric Green just over 11 points per.
Kelly alley-ooping for Miles Plumlee, and he missed the subtle slam.
Well, you got to catch that and come down. He was not in a position to finish.
Delaney's teardrop won't go. Bell is there to follow. Delaney, I think, banged up his elbow as he took that one to the rack. He is holding it while trying to defend Seth Curry.
I don't know if he got a hit on the funny bone. It looks like he's trying to flex his hand. The good news is it's his non-shooting hand.
Ryan Kelly on the wing.
Thank you.
As they come to this end of the floor, that left elbow looks okay, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
Absolutely.
On offense.
Green, not there. Allen on the glass. He can't connect.
Walk.
That's a walk. Induced defensively by Delaney.
And he is still holding that arm, and it's amazing. They get a little rush of adrenaline when the ball's flying around. He looked fine, but then on dead ball situations, he is still in some pain.
We talk about the Bruise brothers. These guys, Delaney and Allen, they have got to stay out there. There are simply no options on Seth Greenberg's bench. He's got four guys in sweats up at the top of your screen right behind him. Some of the best bodies on his roster that have not been dressed all this season.
How about UConn? Playing their 5th game in 5 days.
Green, the teardrop falls, the iron kind. He's got 9, and it's 41-35.
And it's been
the lead in half.
It's been the off guy who's, Nolan Smith can't guard everybody, and they've been attacking Seth Green with, or Seth Curry with Green.
Knocked away by Allen.
There's the look, the good screen. Just using his body well. It's a tough finish going left and coming back right.
Timeout, Duke. A 30-second timeout.
We've got a timeout. Duke had gotten up by 13, and Virginia Tech's carved into the lead. And Coach K's a little hot. Oh, my. Fans of the Atlantic Coast Conference are able to stay connected with ACC Sports via their iPhone or iPod Touch with the official ACC Sports app presented by Haviland. Download today for your mobile access to the ACC. Hokies have gotten to a 7-0 spurt and cut what was a 13-point lead down to 6. Tim Brando, Mike Jaminski, Scott Brzezinski here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Final piece to the ACC Championship puzzle. North Carolina waiting in the wings tomorrow when we get started at 12:30 airtime here on many of these ACC network stations. Singler working over Bell.
Kyle Singler.
Everybody's getting hit in the face right now.
Yeah, Bell took one in the chops there. What do they call about the dog days of February? Most of these kids, a little bit like us and some of the referees, just happy to be in the same hotel room for 3 straight days.
There's the look right there, and Singler, the ability to take that extra step and create some space, a la Harrison Barnes does that so well in the lane.
Oh, the big prize tomorrow on Selection Sunday is Mason Plumlee. That's another one of those fouls, G-Man, you talk about many times, and it seems that both Mason and Miles picked them up quite a bit.
Well, it's, you're 30-plus feet from the basket. You're showing you're a little late getting out, and you get a foul, and needlessly, the guy's going away from the basket.
Against a quality opponent when the game's on the line and attrition is a factor, it could spell doom a few weeks later on. Kelly steps into the passing lane and comes away with a pilfer. Green had Curry around the waist.
The foul has been charged to Virginia.
He gets the foul, his third. The ACC is now on Facebook. Log on to Facebook and become a fan of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Breaking news, conference updates, and connect with other ACC fans around the world. Curry got Delaney airborne. The ball fake did it. And Malcolm's got two.
You know, I'm looking across the way and I see Dell and Sonia sitting there, Seth's mom and dad, and that play just reminded me of Dell and how he used to draw fouls, the pump fake, the lean in. It's a carbon copy of the way his dad plays.
I don't think you'd want any part of his dad in a 3-on-3 right now either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there they are right there.
Once a shooter, always a shooter.
Yeah, and I think I don't know if either one of them can still beat Dad in the game of horse. I'd still take Dad in that one. Steph, maybe.
I know it was a difficult trip for them into Castle Coliseum when that game was played, and it was an all-day infomercial for Virginia Tech with the game day crew on hand. And Seth really struggled and suffered through the course of that game. But I thought it meant a lot that his dad was there. I applaud him being so. Ball's knocked away. It would have been very easy to say, hey, that's my school. I think I probably should keep a lower profile and not show up. I thought it was a nice move on his dad's part.
Kind of a little better job defensively driving against Delaney, and we talked about it with Chris Collins. Scott Pazlonski did about keeping him off the line, so better job that time.
Lead is back to 10. Delaney with the clock down. Almost got the bank to go. It's pulled down by Mason Plumlee.
That was not good recognition by the team in general about how much time was on the shot clock coming out of bounds.
Yep. Ooh, Seth wanted it. Nolan didn't find him in time. You think this kid wants to do well today? I'd say so. Smith got in a little tight, but draws the foul inside, and it will go against Allen, his third. Nolan with the acrobatic plays early, stake Duke to a lead, and they hold on by 10 here in the second half. Time now for us to update our AT&T fan vote. We asked you who will impact today's game the most. There's your response. Delaney by 61 to 39%. We thank you for participating in our AT&T fan vote.
A couple of things that Virginia Tech has done to get back in this game, Tim. One, they've limited offensive rebounds. Duke has not gotten a second chance in the first 4.5 minutes so far, and they've also missed their only three, so they've taken those things out up to this point.
Smith at the free throw line. Talk about the starters and Manny Atkins. 5 starters and then 1 player coming off the bench. You know, just an incredible, inordinate number of minutes being played. I should also mention that Malcolm Delaney in the first half did score his 2,200th point of his career. A lot of minutes and a lot of points for that young man, and for only the reason that he should be able to play on the game's greatest stage, the NCAA tournament. That victory last night and that replay last night had to mean a great deal to one Malcolm Delaney. Green has his pocket picked by Seth Curry.
Really nice defensive job keeping in front. They've given the ball, and he has played a lot of point guard this year, but they've moved Nolan Smith off the ball.
The iron unkind, and it's pulled down by Terrell Bell. Nolan Smith has really done the job snuffing out Malcolm Delaney, making every opportunity a difficult one. Still, Delaney's gotten his fair share of points. Davila in traffic, going to the left hand, and does so wisely. He's got 4, and it's 45 to 37.
Well, he recognized, too, that there was no double team help coming down there, so he got multiple dribbles. It's very tough to defend in the paint if you're guarding a guy who gets that.
Smith. Singler there to answer.
Once again, that's what Seth Greenberg was talking about. Those offensive rebounds, 50-50 balls. The first 2 offensive rebounds with Singler was just faster off the floor.
Whatever issues with regard to energy or minutes played might have been mounting on Singler, the last week did him a lot of good service. There you see the numbers on the starters plus Atkins. That's an incredible amount of minutes.
Well, that's like, this is the thing. To the flip side of that is you got nobody complaining about playing time right now with him, and there's a little thing going on right now between Nolan Smith and Malcolm Delaney, and the referees are trying to calm it down, but it is getting a little chippy out there.
That was the 4th foul, by the way, on Mason Plumlee. Yeah, it hasn't stopped, really, has it?
And Nolan, he's just keeping body contact.
Allen and Singler get involved too. Mike Eads with a quick whistle. It does go against Singler.
Well, Tim, let's keep an eye on it. That usually during this stretch, that the referees are going to have a little bit quicker whistle right now. They're going to try to rein things in.
Yeah, and Seth Greenberg is going to call a timeout, and I think this is a wise choice on Seth's part too.
And here's the look, and this is just this is those 2 going at it, and then there's so you got the marquee players for both teams getting tangled up.
I think that timeout by Greenberg was called more about getting his team composed than anything else.
Well, right now, yeah, you don't want either team. You don't want to be focused on the referees, but I think that the refs are now going over to see if that elbow by Jeff Green was intentional in any way.
Yeah.
And that's pretty close.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to.
Yeah, there's Allen's move, and you could argue that's a basketball move, but the foul had been initiated by Singler. I think they've determined that it's not going to be what in effect could be an intentional foul. You could see the ruling could be, if they determined that there was malice involved, it could be a foul, but then 2 shots in the ball for Duke if Allen did in fact go to the shoulder or above area with an elbow. As a point of emphasis in all college basketball this year, you and I have seen it in a number of games, and John Adams, who's the head of officiating for the NCAA, told us at our seminar in New York last week, it will be a point of emphasis all through the NCAA tournament.
They're calling the 2 coaches over to discuss
reviewed that last play.
what the quorum was.
Fouls on Singler for holding out. Jeff Allen hits him in the face with an elbow after the hold. Okay, it's a dead ball, contact technical foul.
There has been a dead ball.
Right there. Which ball right there?
They're saying you can listen in and hear what they're saying. It was
It's exactly what we explained.
Yeah,
exactly what we explained.
Yeah, it's any time, and especially anywhere in the head area.
And that will be the 4th foul on Allen, which makes the news. The news is more difficult for Seth Greenberg to take than it would be for Mike Krzyzewski.
Kyle Singler, shooting 2.
That's an example of exactly, we explained it already, Mike. We did. We're good with it. Yeah. Right. Mike Eads coming over to tell us what we had already explained. It started with Delaney, and you were quick to point that out, Mike.
Yeah, no, they're getting, this is about a great defensive player and a great offensive player going at it, and it's going to be Duke's ball out of bounds too. So
you get 2 shots in the ball. It's the same thing as an intentional foul.
Yeah, and it's the worst possible outcome for Seth Greenberg, who's inside player picks up the 4th foul and now has to sit on the bench.
Davila's come in for Jeff Allen.
Not a good decision by Ryan Kelly. And that turnover hurts too, because if you're Duke, you get a chance to really extend your lead, and now a foul down the other end on a shooting foul.
Miles Plumlee gets his third.
21, Miles Plumlee.
Coach K is going to go a bit smaller and get Andre Dawkins on the floor.
Victor Nola shooting 2.
Players in the NCAA tournament, beware. You're in a position where you think you're making a basketball play because you're allowed your space, so to speak. Well, guess what? If that basketball play includes a swinging elbow to the opposition's chin or above, you're going to be sitting down. Closed captioning for our telecast provided by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time.
Well, the thing is that there's no 1 foot space. There's no 2 foot space. The defender can be standing as close to you without touching you as he wants.
Duke's lead is 10. The winner meets North Carolina tomorrow for the ACC championship.
Big minutes here for Andre Dawkins. He comes in for Kelly to see if he can maybe spread the zone out a little.
Plumlee counted and a foul. And Atkins hits the deck and is slow to get up.
Foul has been charged to Virginia Tech at number 25, Manny Atkins. His first personal
This is
foul.
a really nice pass, and that's one that shouldn't take place defensively right down the gut like that. Little zone, good shape up inside, and good finish for Miles Plumlee.
Atkins is struggling. He's lower extremities got banged up. That sequence.
You can just see, you can see in the body language the fatigue starting to set in with Virginia Tech.
It was a remarkable run, though, particularly after losing to Renzo Hudson, how this team was sort of an in-season reclamation project. You mentioned they never lost Delaney or Allen, but boy, they lost a lot of other parts, and they have really stayed tough throughout. There's Davila taking it to the 10. He's got 8. Mike, you often talk about pace of play, the way teams like to play the game. Nolan Smith off the bounce.
He's been terrific. And, you know, the thing, Tim, is that they've been very patient against that zone. A good mid-range game. He gets Singler up at the high post and work through. Yeah, they've got 4 guys that they can put on the perimeter and shoot threes on the floor right now around Miles Plumlee.
Delaney. Not there. Out of bounds. Last touched by Virginia Tech.
There's the look. Delaney, the good lob up front. Everything kind of spread out. And a good catch by Davila and finish.
Eight minutes gone by here in the second half. Singler. That may have been a tired jump shot by Kyle off the front rim. Delaney races up the court, gives it up to Green on the wing.
And he's been reduced to a playmaker in this second half.
Dawkins. Another long rebound retrieved by Duke. Dawkins on a blow by. That's going to be a charge. Good move on the part of Atkins, giving up his body even after he had gone to the deck a moment ago. Third foul on Dawkins. Blue Devils have the lead and are trying to make it to the ACC Tournament final. We opened our broadcast with the rock band 12 Stones. We've been doing it all tournament long. We Are One from the album The Only Easy Day Was Yesterday. A digital download of the song We Are One is now available through iTunes. Get more news on the band at 12stones.com. Mandeville, Louisiana, and can really bring it. See Malcolm Delaney and Nolan Smith, his counterpart, 54-41, a 13-point Duke lead. Kyle Singler's going to pick up another foul, his third against Delaney, and let's go over to Scott Brzezwanski. Scott?
Tim, in talking with Seth and listening to Seth Greenberg in the huddle, he was telling, maybe sensing his team a little weary right now. He kept telling them over and over again, we're going to get a run. We're going to get a run. Keep grinding it out. Don't stop believing. We're going to get a run.
Power of positive thinking.
Glad Scott got out of the cone of silence there.
Yeah.
For a while. But you get the sense, Ted, with that speech that Seth is like a jockey that's going to the whip right now.
Absolutely.
Coming around the clubhouse turn.
True grit, Seth Greenberg. His team plays to his personality, no question about it. They got hurt a great deal last year, I thought, with a non-conference schedule. That's what brought them down. They improved upon that this year, but still, they needed some big wins, and they got them late. Struggled with those opportunities to validate them. So this tournament meant everything to Virginia Tech. They needed to get a couple of wins, and they've been able to do that. But this, as you mentioned, Mike, 3 games in 3 days is tough.
Pretty nice defensive chase down that time by Nolan Smith. Not a great decision by Seth Curry, but Smith really saved the play by running it down from behind.
Davila rolling off the pass from Delaney. Duke continues to pick up a few fouls, and anytime the clock stops and Virginia Tech gets an opportunity at the line, that helps. Dawkins with his 4th foul.
Well, they've matched Duke in scoring at the line so far. That number staying even, both saving 12.
Maybe we got a little more blood or something going with Nolan Smith. They're going to have to check him out.
That clean his uniform off, actually. Got the Clorox pen out. Trainer Jose Fonseca doing a little laundry work.
I could have used that on my tie last night. I could have used that on my tie.
I'm going to get you a bottle of whatever it is he's got over there. I'll take it on road trips for you.
Absolutely. Jaminski always knows the trainers, the guys that, as they say, have the extra pair of gym shorts when you need to find a treadmill on the road.
Well, so far, Virginia Tech is hanging in this game by 12 with Delaney and Allen scoreless in the second half. So other guys are stepping up.
Curry. Big 3 for Seth. 57-42. He's got 10. Not at all the shutout he had at Castle Coliseum a few weeks back. Bell feeds Atkins on the wing. That was the shot that he made to close to within 1 last night that really opened the floodgates for Virginia Tech. And the putback leaner for Eric Green off the glass brings Tech back to within 13.
Well, Eric Green, a sophomore, and I think got good things for him in the future, the next couple of years. He may be a primary scorer.
I would agree.
Once Malcolm Delaney departs.
In a lot of ways, he's the future. Smith not there.
The other miss is that Virginia Tech's really cleaned up second chance points in this half.
Delaney off the bounce.
Hello, remember me?
Hello, the nine-line song. That's right.
I'm your leading scorer. I'm going to be taking a few more shots in the last 9 minutes.
Well, he has 15, and the lead is back to 10 for Duke. The Carolina contingent that's still on hand, wanting desperately for this run for Virginia Tech to happen. They'd love to make some noise in this building. Out of bounds. Last touched by Bell. It will be Duke's basketball. I want to see highlights of ACC basketball. Check out the Haviland ACC highlights now online. You can view action from each ACC Network tournament telecast. Log on to theacc.com. I think we got an overrule. Mike Eads came over to provide a little help, and it is Virginia Tech's basketball.
Hey, Jeff!
See right there, a much better job of closing off the defensive glass for Virginia Tech. It's hard to do that and play in a zone, but they've really concentrated on it.
Seth Curry reaching in, picks up the foul. Mike, we've seen teams that run quality zones, you and I. Syracuse at the top of that list. But the thing that impresses me about Virginia Tech's zone is how well they're able to speed up the game on offense while playing with pace and slowing the game down on defense.
Well, what impresses me is that they don't do it. I mean, you know, Boeheim's going to do it year in and year out in Syracuse. That's what it's built on. Seth has had to do this out of necessity, and his team has responded well to it. That's not an easy thing.
Davila at the free throw line. He has 9 points today. Struggles at the stripe. He's been under 50% all season long. Jeff Allen taking a seat.
For the Blue Devils,
Andre Dawkins checks back in for Ryan Kelly. Now, you may have heard overnight that Paul Hewitt officially let go at Georgia Tech, so the search is on for Dan Radakovich, the director of athletics at Georgia Tech. They will not be playing basketball on campus next year. They'll be playing in Phillips Arena half the time and the other half the time at the Gwinnett Coliseum. I'm curious what impact that may have on their coaching search.
It's gone a little cold here shooting the basketball, and they're getting some rushes up the floor. Virginia Tech.
That teardrop would not fall, and it's pulled down by Singler. A lot of conversation not only about Hewitt, but in addition to that, what might happen with Sidney Lowe.
Let's see, this is an important time for Virginia Tech right now, because there hasn't been that patented Duke run yet in this game.
Smith, nice feed to Plumlee.
That's the one thing. Mason Plumlee leads this team in dunks, and he's athletic enough that you can throw it up in the rim and he'll go get it.
There really hasn't been, Mike, a patented run in the game yet by either team. Duke normally has a huge one at the end of the first half. They should put a patent on it. Hokies have managed to maintain contact throughout. They were down 15 5 minutes ago. Atkins can't get that one to fall.
This team, if anything, it's been Virginia Tech that's had rushes up the floor. Duke has played mostly in the half court.
Smith alley-ooping for Mason Plumlee this time.
Well, that dribble drive into the lane draws the back of that zone up just enough, and Plumlee's doing a nice job of lurking along the baseline. Seth Greenberg wants a timeout.
Yeah, good call, and you smelled a potential run. So did Greenberg.
Yeah, he knows that his margin of error is so thin. And in this game, 14 points is a big lead. There's the first look inside. That was delivered from Nolan Smith. And then the look, he's just playing catch and dunk right now.
He knew right away that his club was going to have to be at its absolute best and make some shots. And the unfortunate aspect for Seth is that his team has simply not made enough shots, especially from the perimeter. Want the latest info on your favorite ACC teams? Then check out the team pages section of the ACC.com. Brought to you by Toyota. For content you can't find anywhere else, visit the ACC.com. Nothing will bring energy more than making shots. And Virginia Tech right now, 2 of 13 from downtown. Laney made one a moment ago, and there hasn't been one since. And they got Allen with a foul. Again, the elbow swung.
Yeah, it's getting that elbow up, Timmy. It's a repeat call.
Jeff Allen's done for the day. Timeout. It had gotten chippy sometime back, even in the first half. And ultimately, Jeff Allen paid with his 5th foul just a few moments ago.
Well, this is, again, a team that beat Duke in their home floor when they were #1. They're very physical. They have to be and play that way. And I thought the referees, for the most part, done a nice job of reining this game in. And Allen fouled out. And see, again, it's Timmy, he has had a wonderful career. He's had great statistics, but there's been this other side that's been with him throughout, right from his freshman year.
Yep, no doubt about it.
And he knows in this situation that his team cannot lose him.
In so many respects, I think it's the way the game starts for him. And a lot of Virginia Tech, given how depleted they are. Atkins picks up the foul. Count it. Oh, they're going to wave it off. Foul prior to that. Andre Dawkins actually picking it up. So it does go the other way, and that's his fifth. Duke crowd not.
All right, it was his left elbow that came through that time.
Yep. We're going to be looking at it again here.
But again, he had both hands on the ball, and I think it looked on first blush like a basketball move to him, as we saw. Yep.
Atkins is really hurt. His chin taking the brunt of this blow. Again, clearing with the left arm. Yeah.
And that's just, that's just going up for your shot.
Yep. But as you and I both know,
they're going to be consistent with that elbow call.
They're going to be consistent with that elbow call. That's 2 shots in the ball. Now, Mike Krzyzewski is not going to like this. But, Coach, I'm telling you, that's the direction that we're going. That's the way it's going to be called from this point forward.
You trust me on this one. All right, offensive foul. But what do you see? It's an elbow blade if it's to the jaw. They're going to shoot 2.
Ray Natili right now is making the point that he's pointing to both ends of the floor. He said, I'm going to call it down this end of the floor. We're going to call it down the other end of the floor, being consistent.
And I'm telling you, the coaches, I'm not sure, this started in the Big Ten. Jim Burr told me about it in early February. Said there had been a conference call because of the circumstances with blows to the head and concussions. They were not going to tolerate any contact. And while in the pro game there is a level of space that's generally given, in the college game they're not acknowledging that space. Anything coming to the shoulder or above is going to be treated like an intentional foul. 2 shots and the ball to the receiving team of the foul.
Yep, and here it is, and just leading with that elbow. It's an elbow foul.
And by the way, if the coaches want to do something about it in the offseason before next year, they'll have that opportunity with the rules committee.
Yeah, but you have to go by the rules. And the thing is, and the referees today have been very consistent in how they've adjudicated that call.
61-49 with just under 6 to play.
But I think there is a sentiment amongst the coaches that these are a lot of them. You can tell when somebody tees you up with an elbow and it's a flagrant foul.
Yeah.
But when you take a basketball move out of it, that's, then the pendulum doesn't always stop in the right place.
I will say, too, in our seminar, we had a healthy debate over that, didn't we? But John Adams explained it as he did, and we're going to live with it the rest of the year. Kelly counted on a foul.
See, I like that play from the standpoint that Kelly goes up, Ryan Kelly gets the ball, comes down under control. He wasn't in a position to make the play right now. But get your feet underneath you, go up strongly, and give yourself a chance for a 3-point play.
(64-49). Blue Devils back up by 15. Green getting the high pick from Davila. Takes it all the way to the rack. And the whistle underneath.
Foul has been charged.
That was against Kyle Singler, his fourth.
Kyle Singler, his fourth. Team foul number 10.
And we're in the double bonus now the rest of the way for Virginia Tech.
Eric Green
gets back to the free throw line. Think about this young man, Mike. You touched on how important he's been. He became a starter in the win over Penn State, and I think you can make a case he's one of the most improved players in this conference.
No question about it.
then.
You look at him, he's #1 on the team in steals, 1.8. He had 17 all last year. And I know that Seth was really counting on him before the year. The reason being is they wanted to move Malcolm Delaney off the ball. And then when Lorenzo Hudson went down, his maturation and growth became critical, and he has really answered the call.
Coach K wants to dig into the clock, I believe, per possession the rest of the way. Smith on the dribble drive. That's charge. Manny Atkins again. Boy, he's tough. He gets in position on the low block.
Well, this is the thing you have to recognize, too. If you were playing against Virginia Tech, and they've been playing a little bit more man, a lot more man in this half, that there are no shot blockers here, but you're going to have guys who step in and charge, so the floater would have been the shot in that instance to shoot.
Delaney trying to shake free. Mason Plumlee comes to get him on the switch. Atkins not there. That wing jumper just not falling for him. He's done everything else well. Oh, pretty good move. And a follow by Bell that goes off the back of the iron. Heartbreak Hotel for Tech. Boy, they did everything but finish in that sequence.
Yeah, it could have been, just down to 11 points, and you get under the 4-minute mark, you get a little bit of a break, and maybe there's some momentum. That is a big, big miss.
Almost as if they tried too hard. Smith working on Delaney. Nice job by Malcolm Delaney. He deflected it. Numbers now for Atkins. Leaves it for Delaney. Drops it off to Davila. Again, unable to finish. Back up again, and Seth Greenberg gets a timeout with 3:17 remaining. There's no quit in this team, is there?
No, Davila playing very, very well in this game, and he really has had to pick it up with Jeff Allen having fouled out.
Well, you talk about resume building for Virginia Tech just getting into the Selection Sunday fray. It was about this win, a huge victory that they got at the Castle, and an evening they'll not soon forget.
Well, and here's the thing, Tim, about that, and talking to Seth, he said he wished that the next game was on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. A quick turnaround, maybe not enough to get over the hangover, but to see the resume, he's got 3 wins against the top 50, including that win against Duke. RPI and strength of schedule not great, but 9-7 in this conference and a couple of tournament wins, I think, should be enough to get them in.
Yeah, I think you could say not great, but you also have to say not awful. There are some teams with far worse RPIs. They're going to get in.
Well, and there's a lot of teams whose resume, it's going to be interesting in that room.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of resumes that look awful like each other.
Yeah. This idea that yesterday's Georgia-Alabama game was an elimination game, I don't believe that for 1 second. I think Georgia's in, and Alabama probably should be in as well, but you never know. They got blown out today by Kentucky. The way you play has a lot to do with it. The committee watches the game. Everyone talks about the eye test as though the committee doesn't have an eye test. We're in Greensboro. The championship comes tomorrow. You are watching the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. Ready to get away each day of this tournament. We have been giving away fantastic golf packages to Maggie Valley Resort in beautiful Maggie Valley, North Carolina. Today's winner is Eric West from Anor, South Carolina. Today is also the last day you can log on to the ACC.com/getaway and get your chance to win tomorrow's grand prize package. It includes an E-Z-GO golf car and a set of Callaway golf clubs. Delaney working on Curry. Gives it up to Green for 3. Not there. Singler and Green fighting for it, and Eric Green will pick up the foul. That is number 4 on Eric.
Team foul number 9.
Kyle Singler will get to the free throw line. Mike, I'm curious, based on the way the last game in Chapel Hill went, and Steve Robinson, and there he is, about to get up. He's done with his scouting for the day for Roy Williams. I'm curious, what different would you think might happen in the rubber match between Duke and North Carolina? We had the first game, you and I, and Cameron, and the second game was, I thought, more of really Carolina's emergence and the team they had become with Kendall Marshall at the controls.
Yeah, that's going to be a big key. You know, Seth Curry has had a terrific series against North Carolina, over 20 points. He was instrumental in the win in Cameron. And I think of the guys that Kyle Singler may have had some subpar games.
Green with a nice move going reversal as he continues to attack the rack. And it's 66 to 55.
And I think a deciding factor is how Duke shoots the 3 in that game tomorrow.
Good pass. Plumlee to Kelly.
And then the matchup of Singler and Harrison Barnes, probably the most intriguing one, and the one that I'll be watching along with Nolan Smith and Kendall Marshall.
Well, the skeptics on Singler were there because of what happened to him in that last matchup with Harrison Barnes. Singler was shut down in that game.
This is a 60-second timeout.
Look at this. Beautiful passing here, Mike.
Yeah, just look over the top, and it's the one thing when you get a full court press, you want to attack at the score, not just get it over half court. The ball never really touched the ground on the dribble that time.
Our Pepsi players of the game: Victor Davila with 11.6 boards and a block. Nolan Smith, after some speculation that he might not be able to go, well, all he did was really set the tone for the day. 20 points. He dropped 6 dimes as well.
And it's really pretty amazing to me, Tim, that Virginia Tech has been able to stay in this game with Jeff Allen scoring 2 points and fouling out, and Malcolm Delaney really not having a great game. 3 of 12 from the floor. Only 15 points for him, so defensively they've done a pretty good job against Duke.
And that's another reason in my mind they're a tournament team. It's not always about the impact wins, but it's the way you perform in defeat that comes into play. And Virginia Tech has looked awfully good, even though they're down to just 6 bodies who can actually participate. Only 7 scholarship players available to Seth Greenberg. This broadcast this afternoon is a copyright presentation of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Any use of the broadcast without the permission of the Atlantic Coast Conference and Raycom Sports is prohibited. Hey, I think Virginia Tech will sleep. These guys are going to sleep very well tonight when they get back to Blacksburg.
Virginia Tech, number 1, Terrell Bell.
3 grueling days for them.
Team foul number 10.
It's an amazing thing, and because of the expansion, I mean, I was fortunate enough to play on teams that we went to the finals 3 straight years, so I've experienced that, and then the championship game adds another layer of stress. It's like playing 2 games, and it's just like every second that you can get to put your feet up, you're just running on adrenaline at the end of it. And this is going to be a hard-fought game, obviously, tomorrow, and it's going to take a lot out of these teams going into next week.
Delaney off the mark, out of bounds to Duke. Grayson Clemens steps out, and Tyler Thornton comes in for him. And the 7th Hokie to perform today, Tyrone Garland, youngster from Philadelphia. Foul goes against Malcolm Delaney.
And the thing, you know, and we've seen his role increase this year, and Ryan Kelly has really improved. He's earned a spot into that rotation where he's playing a lot of minutes. It's because of his basketball IQ. He's just always in the right place, makes the right play, has expanded his offense this year. Nothing flashy, just making good basketball decisions.
And I know there are always great young players coming in to Duke, Mike. So you can actually improve from one year to the next, and your place in the rotation may not improve from a minutes perspective. you had better work on your game during the offseason.
Well, Mike has always said, and this is how he determines things, that players earn playing time in practice. And it's not a coach's decision. And players figure it out.
Garland with some fresh legs takes it right in for a layup. It's 72-59. Saw Kyrie Irving over there, and he got a lot of attention yesterday. See the championship games. North Carolina leading 6-3, the most recent coming in 2001. Going back to Kyrie for a moment, Mike, they've kept all information on his availability on the down low. What are your thoughts on him?
I just don't know that he's had enough practice time to be a factor in conditioning. So it'll be interesting to see how that situation is handled, and to reintegrate him into this team in an NCAA tournament situation. That won't be an easy thing, and if there's anybody who can do it, it's that coaching staff. But I'll be curious to see how that's handled.
Well, this is only my observation, but it's one thing for him to practice or get workouts at Cameron with no one around. Last night he came out with everyone understanding that there would be reporters out there to see him, and I think the committee is going to take that into consideration, or at least the thought that they might is perhaps one of the reasons you do it.
Well, you and Oliver Stone are probably both taking that look at it, and but if one thing to run up and down and do something before a game, if you want to get the committee's attention, play him.
Well, as you know, I'm a contrarian. I'll admit that. I'll admit to that. But let's face it,
there's one way to find out. We'll ask Mike tomorrow.
Why not? We'll do that. I have felt for a long time he was a potential trump card in a season where there are no real dominant one seeds. And there will be healthy debate over who the one should be. The only two locks appear to be Ohio State and Kansas. After that, you've got 3 or 4 teams going for 2 spots.
And I just, quietly I'll be curious to see the outcome of that game, but the way Louisville is playing,
oh yeah,
they may be getting hot at the right time.
Smith takes it in, gets the ball, and the bucket.
Think there'll be any energy in the building tomorrow? I'm really surprised that, and I asked our stats people to look it up, that I'm really surprised that Duke and Carolina have only played 9 times in the finals in 58 years. There's Nolan Smith, just the ability to finish in traffic and draw the foul and complete the 3-point play.
Well, that tells you a lot about the history of great runs. Nolan leaves the game and to a standing ovation.
27 points for him, and you know what? He earned 34 seconds of rest, Tim. How about that? Take the rest of the day off.
There you see the most tournament title wins. Lead by 1. But that tells you the fact that they've only met 9 times, Mike. I think it speaks to the history of Lefty Drizel's teams at Maryland, the great runs that NC State had with Sloan and Valvano, Ralph Sampson's era at Virginia.
Tech's era.
Absolutely.
Tech has had some runs here.
Bobby Crimmins. By the way, I wonder if anyone will ever write that Bobby, there's speculation that Bobby might coach on his own court again one day, huh? You can bet in the social networking world we're in, somebody's already mentioned it. Duke will win it and punch their ticket into the ACC Tournament Final against North Carolina tomorrow here on the ACG Network. Mike Krzyzewski gets win 29 of the season. And for Seth Greenberg's gritty Virginia Tech Hokies, back to Blacksburg to await Selection Sunday to find out whether they're Dayton bound as one of the last 4 in. We'll be right back.
ACC basketball has been brought to you by AT&T, by Pepsi, by your local Toyota dealers, by Food Lion, and by BB&T.
The top 2 seeds have made it to the championship game. Duke with a win over Virginia Tech, 77-63. They will face their big rival, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Nolan Smith leading the way today for the Blue Devils with 27 points. We're back in a moment. Duke and Carolina meet tomorrow for the 3rd time. The rubber match should be a great one, Corey Alexander.
It should, and the first time in 10 years these two have met in the ACC title game. There will be 2 different types of blue in this building tomorrow, and there will be a lot of energy.
It's going to be fun. We hope you'll join us at 12:30 tomorrow as we get ready for Championship Sunday. For Corey and our entire crew, Mike Hogwood here saying so long from Greensboro. You've been watching the ACC Tournament on the ACC Network.